And solder, if I would recommend the lead solder for a start. It's easier, so it's much easier to solder with lead solder. But I also would warn you to have your blower, fan, or window open, because nobody wants to be inhaling lead for a long time. And then once you are good in soldering, you can switch over to silver, so as against lead. um, and then I reiterate using the flux pen for flux. Initially I also didn't take it seriously, but flux helps to keep the solder in melting point for a little longer time, and it spreads, penetrates through the wire. So that again helps to make a solid soldering joint. Once you get the knack of it, just by looking alone, you can say whether it's a good soldering joint or not. We discussed the transmitter and the programming part, and one other thing, before I even open up the module, I should have said that when you're on your testing, leave the props off the motors. You do not want to have it inside, have the props on, um, because the damage it can do is very, very high. And we discuss about that soldering iron. We discuss part, and then you have the other stuff that you have is the pliers, the cutters, the um, tie wraps, cable wraps, zip ties, all means the same thing. And battery strap. My advice is, if ever possible, instead of putting one battery strap, put two, because battery is a heavy thing compared to the weight of the drone. So it always can get. I have seen a lot of videos and notices that batteries do fall out, so you don't want that. And again, adapter and our SMA connector is also, you can see it in our diagrams. SMA connector, you can have a few 90-degree ones, L-shaped ones, because sometimes you have it in there in the drone that has come with the kit, but very difficult to do, to get the antenna where you want it to come out. So 90-degree angle SMAs help on that, and the spacers or standoffs or spacers, that's useful to have in the workshop. Hex drivers, Allen keys, very important. Tweeters we already have. And as the third part of assembly module, I will have to I want you to go and assemble 10 drones at one time, at least. This is not a scare tactic. Let's say you have your tiny assembly line going up. You are not harming anybody, because it doesn't take that much space. When you streamline that, when I say 10 units, I don't really mean it's a, you have to lay out all the 10, not only all the 10, you'll have to buy a lot of, you have to invest a lot of on parts. What I mean is, you can leave out the transmitter and leave out the battery, which are high ticket items, but you can get the other stuff and start your assembly plant in a very tiny way. Believe me, you can do it. And here's the thing: if you set on assembling 10, just sell one for me. That's all I ask. Just sell one for me. Am I asking too much? No. Yeah. And the rest of the 9, I will show you how to sell them with once you do the marketing program with the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and any other social media that you are in front of. Once you do the marketing, I will show you how you can sell the rest of the 9. So it's not a bad deal to start on, and few other steps I want to discuss on this. I need to show you this. Look at this. This one I particularly put it out. Let's get this camera nicely focused on this. How clearly would you see this? How clearly would you see this? In fact, what you see over there is a motor, and you are putting the holding bolt or holding screw, and make sure it does not penetrate and come anywhere near. I cannot say anywhere near, it's always near, right? But it should not hit the winding. Why I particularly say that I'm very paranoid about it is many people, even Andy, RC Andy, he's a very experienced guy from Great Britain, and he has put out a number of good YouTubes in his channel, and I honestly I should thank him. I picked up a lot from him, and he explains where he assembles the whole thing. He goes into details of buying the correct part and everything. And he was skeptical about parts failing, but nothing failed. Absolutely nothing failed in his whole assembly. But one of the screws were touching the winding. So look at things that can go wrong. You cannot even think. You take all this extra care, but a complete unknown thing can give you trouble. And speaking about when you get stuff particularly from China, no hard feelings. I'm not putting down any country, but you have to. It's always good policy to follow. You get the screws, they just put them one by one and try every nut, every screw, whether they work properly or not. Because sometimes you go to assemble, then you get into these kind of problems. So you don't want that. And pretty much you are set to do on this volume 3, assembling drones. I have given you what's the basic that you need to get this going. There are a few other things that I want to bring up to your attention. Now, of course, we the frames are carbon fiber. Those days we were on the planes. It was an aluminium alloy called Dural we used, but the newer stuff are coming to be getting the usage. At least they are being used. And one other thing, to get these streamlines, of course, you can go to, I have listed them out, Hobbykim, Banggood, and Amazon. When you talk about Amazon, I thoroughly urge you to get the Prime of Amazon. Why I say that is, you are going on in the assembly line, and then you don't want to tie up all your money. Meaning you have one drone already ready, but you don't have the battery and the control or the radio, which is a high ticket item. Once you get the order, is the next day they will deliver if you have the Prime. So if you are in the US, have the Prime Amazon, and if there are other countries also. If the Prime is available on Amazon, take it, I would say. Then there's a few other things I really noted to bring to your attention. Binding, and of course fail-safe. You would definitely come to know about the fail-safe. It's very nicely detailed and described in the software programs like Betaflight or OpenPilot or Flight Mission. What really happens? What really you are doing on fail-safe is when if the transmitter loses connections, it totally brings the drone down. You can bring it down just as it is, right to the same spot, heading it to the ground, or you can do other things. But my suggestion is, as a XAR Force personnel, my suggestion is just bring it down. Think about the fighter pilot when the plane is shot. What does he do? He just ejects the flight. So just bring it down. That's the safest thing. There's no other thing as far as I'm concerned. You got to do. And binding, yeah, binding. Of course, I think people are getting more familiar because you always use the Bluetooth. What do? You do binding, right? So similar thing. Process is very easy. Sorry, let me withdraw. It's not easy, but it's explained well in all these software programs. And then on the binding, if you get the red light solid, that means yes. Even before I say that, always it reminds for you to update the firmware and the software, and always do that. And if the binding is not established properly, and you get the power red light coming right through, it could be the version difference of the region. Like once firmware in the transmitter, you may have EU software, EU update, and on your receiver it could be the US one or the international one. So that's one thing you got to check if the binding does not go the way you want. So we were talking about don't invest too much on the test gears and the rigs and all that, test rigs and all that. Telemetry also I want to mention here transmits a lot of information other than your FPV, other than your video, other things about your craft. It'll transmit to the base. That's another good thing. And when once again, this is a point that before you think of what kind of a drone that your assembly line, we are going to go for 10. What are you going to start with? Whether it is a stunt one, whether it is a racing one, or heavy lifting, or aerial photograph or FPV. I would rather stay with aerial photograph and FPV, because if it is racing and stunt and all that, they've been done by most of the enthusiasts. They do research themselves. So the better chance of from the market standpoint, to stick to FPV and aerial photograph. You will be better off with that. And thank you very much, and we will complete this module. We will see you once you do the quiz. We will see you in the next module, and we'll be in the module 4. We'll be discussing weather. That's another very good subject. Thank you.